This is Musical Talk, the UK's independent musical theatre podcast.
Good evening, afternoon, morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nick Hudson. Welcome to episode 98 of Musical Talk. Back home is Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Nick.
How was your trip away?
It was fabulous.
Good.
I don't know why I'm home. I should have just stayed there.
Well, that's not allowed, I don't think, sadly.
Aww.
I'm ill and tired because we had a big barbecue yesterday for a big 100th episode.
Ooh, how was that?
It was very, very it was lovely. We got to see many people, and we got to gossip about the people that weren't there. Lisa.
Is there gossip about me?
Yes, but not recorded.
Well, that's fair.
Would you like us to record it next time so it can be fair?
No, I don't want to hear. I don't want to know what you say about me behind my back.
But it was lovely. I met some presenters that I'd actually never met before. I met the lovely Andrew Corcoran, and everyone else met each other, and we had lots of lovely food. We had a musical talk cake, which went down very well, and we had barbecue. Dom did some cooking on the barbecue. Well, not on the barbecue, because we had like 10 days worth of rain yesterday fall in like a minute. And it happened to be the minute we were hungry, so we couldn't have a barbecue then, but it was all oven cooked and it was all lovely. Had lots of salads and cakes and crisps and chips and dips and all that stuff. So much fun had by all, and the episode 100 will be up when episode 100 should be up, and it's a bit of a big one. That's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough.
Yes, so look forward to that in episode 100. But we have a surprise for this week's episode, as well as your chat about Broadway, which we'll get to later.
Yes. This week we have an interview with Oliver Tompsett.
Who?
Oliver Tompsett. He's in some show. I don't think he's very famous.
Okay. But what else is he famous for?
He is also famous for being for having his own album out, which is called Sentimental Heart, and also for being in other shows such as Our House, Mamma Mia. I can't think what else he's been in. That's really bad.
Well, it's not our job to think, it's our job to listen, so let's hear the interview you did with Oliver Tompsett, who is currently starring as Fiyero in Wicked.
Today I'm here at the Apollo Victoria Theatre with Oliver Tompsett, who I'm sure most of you will know is currently as Fiyero in Wicked. We're not going to start by talking about Wicked because, as you all know, we talk about that show a lot here at Musical Talk. We started at the same time as Wicked opened in London, so there's a time correlation. But I think we'll go back in time a bit and just ask you what got you into musical theatre and where did you get started with it?
I started in musical theatre probably when I was about sort of 16, 17. Before then I'd never really thought about performing so much because I'd been into my sports a lot, so I'd never really thought about getting up on stage and prancing around. But my mum was an actress, and she had her own sort of school that she used to teach performing and stuff. And then I was about 16, 17. She sort of started to encourage me more in that direction because she thought I might be quite good at it, and I wasn't really good at anything else. So I wasn't really flunking out at school, but God, that's an American expression.
It's very American.
Isn't it? Flunking out. I'm terribly sorry
Failing.
about the American expression. I wasn't failing at school, but I was by no means excelling in any subject really, apart from sort of maybe a bit of art I was all right at, and a bit of PE, but sports was it. So then I decided to go for it and auditioned for colleges in London and found myself being offered scholarships and stuff, and so I then thought I'd go for it and try it out, which was quite good because when I arrived at sort of drama college, most of the students there, most of the kids had been doing it from a very young age, but for me it was still quite fresh. Mm-hmm. So what I lacked in sort of ability and knowledge, I sort of gained in enthusiasm, I think.
Did you find that made it easier for you in the college environment, that you weren't so sort of almost jaded at the start, or?
Yeah, no, definitely. It did make it easier at first. I think there were times where, it kind of showed that I hadn't had as much experience as the other students, but if anything, the personality that I am sort of it gave me more drive. It made me work harder, and, definitely, you can train anywhere nowadays, but it's more what you get out of it, what you put into your classes and everything, rather than what school you go to. So yes, I went to Arts Ed. One of the things that appealed to me about Arts Ed, which a lot of colleges do now, but when I was there, they were one of the only ones doing it, was the show experience in your third year. You'd get maybe sort of there's like 6 or 7 shows that the third year does on quite a big scale. You kind of split in half, and you do. So half the year's doing one show, the other half doing the year every term. So you end up doing about 6 or 7, including your showcase or something. So it's a fantastic experience. The first one I did was sometimes Into the Woods, where I played Cinderella's Prince. Which was, quite typecast again there. Playing princes seems to be what I seem to play. But it was good. And I remember it just being way too low for me. It was just like. Anything come up, it was just, I'm a tenor singer, and I've never really. My low register is much stronger now, but when I was at college, that's all I remember. So it was quite a bad memory of that show. And then we also did Tommy, where I played Tommy, which was kind of sort of rocky and sort of high tenor, and I really enjoyed that. We had like a rock band rather than sort of orchestra type thing, which is sort of a 5-piece rock band. It was MD'd by Hairspray's Nick Skilbeck. He's fantastic. And then we don't do it now. We did what they call a pop showcase, where basically you have a commercial choreographer, like commercial dance teacher, come in and give you some funky moves and have various people doing backing tracks with you. You basically do a sort of top of the pops show. The other half of the year we're doing hair, I think it was, and we did the pop showcase, we called it. It was brilliant because, we're all there training in musical theatre. None of us are going to be pop stars, but we're all each one chance to sort of have a chance to do that kind of thing. And the only time you're going to get to do it, and all the lights and the dressing up in your baggy trousers and stuff. And it was great fun. It was very silly. In fact, Adam Murray, who's we were in the same year, and we both did the pop showcase together. I have a very, very funny video of us both trying to be very street. And like failing miserably, but I've got a fond memory of that. And then what else to do? Then we have our main showcase, which is just a compilation of monologues and songs, and then we did West Side Story at the end of the year, which I played Tony, and then we got to do that at the Cannizzaro Festival in Wimbledon, which is a fantastic venue. If you ever get a chance to go and see a show there, all your musical lovers, go and see the musical at the Cannizzaro Festival, because it's just a big open air, a bit like Regent's Park, beautiful surrounding.
Sounds great.
Yeah, great.
And what came first after college for you?
Well, I got my agent towards the end of my third year, which was very lucky of me. They put me up for my first audition was for Full Monty, and I went and auditioned for it and got down to the last 2, I believe, or something like that. You never know the actual real how many people there are, but I remember getting very close, and it was kind of. I was too young for it, really. The sort of 5 main guy was up for one of the guys in that called Ethan. I didn't get that, and didn't feel upset at all, because I was just like so grateful to be getting a recall straight out of college. When you're competing against people you've always looked up to. And then my second audition was for Our House, the Madness musical, which I only actually had one audition for that, because it was a last-minute thing. Everyone in my year had auditioned for Our House. I wasn't being seen. I think it was partly because they were meant to be all school kids, and I was 6'4", so it wasn't the obvious choice. And they couldn't find a swing. They were looking for someone who could just, dance it all, sing it all, and act it all, because there's a lot of cameo parts. And I went in for that, and they just really liked me, and I got that. And it was, I remember speaking to my.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Physical and vocal warm-up will commence on stage in approximately 5 minutes. Physical and vocal warm-up will commence on stage in approximately 5 minutes. Thank you.
That's our warm-up call. You heard it here first. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I can't remember what I was saying. Our House. So yeah, Our House was my first show, and I spoke to my teachers and stuff at college and said, I've been offered swing. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. They're like, we'll need you to cover everyone. And it was kind of an extension on my training to kind of go and, cover everyone in the show and learn as much as I can. It also sort of gives you braverism, if you like, gives you real courage, because when you go on, a lot of the time you maybe haven't had so much rehearsal, you've never done it before. The first time you do it in front of an audience, you've maybe never been in that position. You've just watched person A or person B, person C standing in that place. So it gives you a real courage for sort of the rest of your career. I remember after that, understudying any part was a walk in the park. Once you've been swinging and covered 8 or 9 roles, and had to sometimes go on and play 3 or 4 in one night because everyone's sick, covering one part is easy. So it was an extension of my training, and I loved it. It was a big learning curve, and at first it was my first professional job. It was a big wake-up call, but looking back on it, I loved it. Loved every minute, and it's a brilliant show.
Yeah, it's been on tour recently.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I just saw it.
Oh,
it's really good.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
I got a last-minute ticket, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
really
brilliant.
good show.
Brilliant.
If you could have any role that's in the West End Broadway just now, what would you choose? And if there's nothing that's currently on, what would be your absolutely the one role that you would love to have a shot at? You're not allowed to say Fiyero.
No. Although Fiyero, I do love it. I think it's a great part, and it's really me, and I've had a blast playing it. Shows that are on at the moment, there's a show called Xanadu on Broadway, which I really love. I love it. I think it's very me. There's a part in it played by a guy called Shane Jackson, who I think is just incredible. And to fill his shoes is probably near on impossible. But it's just such a fun show, and it's got those 80s power ballads in it, and that sort of rock singing, which I love doing so much, but at the same time embracing the sort of comedy sort of characters, which is what I like, being a bit of a buffoon as well, even far off me in real life or Fiyero.
Ladies and gentlemen, physical warm-up is about to
There's another shout-out for warm-up!
You're still not gone yet.
They're very thorough. I do my own warm-up in a moment. I'm going to do my yoga. I'm not really. I'll probably do a couple of sit-ups, that'll be it. Yeah, a couple of sirens.
Whoopi Goldberg's in that just now.
You what?
Whoopi Goldberg's in
I know.
on Broadway.
I know.
I was going to go.
I'm tempted to go see it again. I'm probably going to New York in November.
Yeah.
Kerry won't be there by then, which is why I'm going. I want to kind of avoid her. Trying to stay as far away from each other as possible. We really don't get on.
Bad news. You're just coming back here, right?
I know, she's coming back. I'm hoping to be gone before then, but my agent's working on it. That's not true. Before people start talking about it. So that Xanadu show I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
If that's come over, but I don't know if it will or not.
Everything else does.
Pardon? I know, everything else does. And Legally Blonde's great, and there's loads of shows, but if there was a part I'd like to do, at the moment I was talking to my friend about it, and I think it'd be really good. People might think I'm bonkers, but I think Pretty Woman, the musical, probably someone's already doing it, would be fantastic.
I think it'd be very good.
And if they work on it in the next sort of 6-7 years, by the time I'm sort of getting into my sort of mid-early 30s, I could grey up my hair a little bit. I could do the Richard Gere part.
There you go.
And get to work opposite a beautiful woman, or a pretty woman, should I?
Sounds alright, doesn't it?
You probably should be called Beautiful Woman, wouldn't it?
It would be really bad.
Wouldn't be as successful.
No. Wouldn't work.
No. So I think that would be good. I'd like to do something, there's originals that you can get, or do something like a show based on Meatloaf's music, or Elton John's music. Even though he's written lots of musicals, he should bring out a show with some... I like the rock operas. I think they're good. Because of that, because I come from the sort of music side of a lot of it, and take a lot of inspiration from Stevie Wonder and other artists and stuff. I'd love to do something like that, something a bit fun. I'm not really into musicals that are full of angst, such as Les Mis or anything. Well, you're saying that, we'll probably listen back to this recording and I'll be in Les Mis in 2 years' time or something silly like that. But no, I'm not really into sort of Les Mis, or as much as I love Miss Saigon, the ones that are a bit angsty. I like the characters. If you're going to do a musical comedy that's going to be good fun.
Yeah.
I don't really see the point of singing in a bad mood.
No.
You know what I mean?
Doesn't work. Nobody does it in real life.
Don't work. Unless you're really angry.
Yeah.
She's singing No Good Deed.
That's true.
Which I've tried to suggest I should sing in the show.
I think you should.
Well, so far, they're not up for it.
There you go, listeners, start a petition.
Exactly. To get the petition done.
What I was just sort of going on from that, if you were given the chance to sort of write a musical, if someone said to you, here's a pile of money, write a musical, what would you base it on, and what style of music would you incorporate into it? If someone just said to you, here's a limitless budget, do what you like?
Wow. Well, I do actually approach sort of writing musicals and stuff, and there's a couple of ideas I do have and everything. I'm not going to talk about that. But I was talking the other day, if I had an endless amount of money and just thought, I'm going to do it, and I don't think it would make any money, but I want to write, for 2012, the Olympic Games musical.
That'd be
Don't you
good.
think that'd be good?
Yeah.
Like some sort of story about, I don't know, some guy who's just the water boy, or he ends up getting in trouble with his boss and runs out into the stadium, and before he knows it, he's running 100 metres and wins it miraculously. And that'd be brilliant. And then a whole story about how he becomes a big name and a big star.
It'd be good fun.
And just call it Let the Games Begin.
Yeah.
Not Let the Games Beijing, because that would be in Beijing.
Yeah.
But something, and then just do a 2-week run when the Olympics are in London.
Everyone would go.
Everyone would go. No one would go and see the Olympics.
No.
Everyone would be at Oliver Tompsett's
They wouldn't get a ticket for the
Let the
Olympics.
Games Begin. Exactly. All the people who don't get a ticket for the Olympics
go to the musical.
We could even like confuse people and make them believe they're coming to see the Olympics. Just call it the Olympics. Brilliant. Done.
We'll do
so
that.
all you need to do is find the money. People want to start sending contributions, and I'll start writing. I think if I was going to write a musical with music, it'd have a sort of mixture of, sort of popular music, which is, or anything really, Latin American, hip hop, pop, soul, R&B, but with comedy lyrics in there as well. I also like to do a musical that just kind of sort of maybe takes the mick out of every cliche musical theatre song there is. Sure, lots of people kind of do that, but put your own sort of lyrics to it, try and get a story and
It's always good fun.
Yeah.
Parodies.
Yeah,
Always good.
maybe one day they'll work.
Yeah. I'm just intrigued by the Olympics.
Exactly.
Someone running.
It'd be fantastic. As in the poster, the colours of the ring.
It'd be great. What obviously, aside from Xanadu, which obviously you really liked, what's the best thing you've seen recently? Is there anything that really sort of stood out or made you want to go and see it again, or must get the album, t-shirt?
Quite bad. You don't get much chance to go and see much being this, especially in London.
Busy one.
When you get your holiday, you tend to go away, and there aren't many good shows in Cuba or Cyprus. I mean, there is the in-hotel entertainment, but as you all may know, it's not quite up to scratch. But entertaining at the same time, strangely.
Or is there anything you haven't seen that you'd like to see?
I haven't seen Jersey Boys yet.
Yeah.
And I really want to see that. I think they're doing a midnight matinee. I'm going to plug that. They're doing a midnight matinee.
Ooh.
So,
Midnight matinees are always good fun.
yeah, I'm going to go and see that. Avenue Q is also a favourite of mine. I think it's so funny. Like I say, I think things should be fun. I like to laugh. And I think Avenue Q is one of the funniest. So I'd go and see that again. But apart from that, I'm trying to think, I'm really bad. I didn't see anything amazing. I want to see High School Musical today.
Oh,
Yeah.
how's that?
Awful.
Really?
But the people in it were amazing.
Yeah, the people in it are great.
Amazing.
But that's
obviously, there's from our last cast, I was supporting Michael Pickering and Mark Evans. They're both mind-blowingly good.
And there's a girl from Gabriella used to be Cosette.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's great.
They're all fantastic. I mean, but it's quite hard to tell what's going on when you've got a load of kids. I had a girl throwing a pom-pom in my eye near the whole show. And it was quite fun towards the end. I didn't want to ruin it for her and go, do you mind not doing it? I'm watching a piece of theatre. I couldn't ruin it for her. She was 8, 9, 4, 5. So I ended up dancing with her and playing pom-poms as well. And luckily our mum was okay with it. I was like, yeah, come on, let's join in. But she kept smacking me in the face. It was quite funny. Meanwhile, her brother was just roaming around in the row in front, going, not looking at stage at all. So it's a bit like going to see a pantomime, but the people are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything I'd like to go and see again. I can't decide.
Oh well.
I don't think we're going to find one. We could do dramatic pauses all day, but it wouldn't be very interesting listening to.
Really. What's the best and worst thing about working in musical theatre? Obviously.
The best thing about working in musical theatre is that you get your time off when everyone else is at work. And the worst thing about being in musical theatre is that you have to work while everyone else gets their time off. So it's kind of that whole thing of just not having very sociable hours.
You've got quite a grueling Christmas schedule this year, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, most years you do. Last year we were quite lucky. You know, if you get 2 days off, where you don't, 2 clean days, you don't do a show, then you've done well. I think we've just got a Christmas Day this year, I'm not sure, I haven't checked. You probably know more than I do. But, you know, it's so rewarding being in musical theatre, you know, especially when you're in a great show like Wicked. The thing I love about theatre is the automatic feedback, you know, the audience are enjoying it. You can really feel, they don't have to clap or laugh, you can really feel a genuine energy when you're doing a good show, or when maybe the show's a little bit slow, a little bit flat. You know, you can tell the difference. And most of the time, when you're in a good show like Wicked, most of the time you get that energy back. And that's the best thing about doing live theatre. The worst thing is about it is that it can sometimes get very sort of Groundhog Day, very samey, because you're listening to the same music. The lights are changing exactly the same time, the same costumes. It's very much sometimes you, after doing it for more than a year, 2 years, like I have, you can find yourself getting a little bit insane and thinking, oh my god, and what day am I? And I've already said that line 8 times this week. What day are we on? So it can get a little bit confusing, which is why a lot of actors, you know, move on and try and get other jobs, which then in itself puts you in a position where you don't have any security. You might have to be out of work for 9 months, you know, and that's not a long time being an actor to be out of work. You know, you just find other ways of making a living. But that's the toughest thing about being an actor in musical theatre, is the security that you lose. But when you are in a show like this, it's hugely fulfilling.
If you have had a period of being out of work like that, have you ever done a job where you're just like, this is the worst?
Yes.
What's the worst?
I've done some. Well, I've always done sort of promotional work. You know, the people that hand out leaflets, or giving samples out at Victoria Station, handing out free bottles of water or something. I've done it all. I've done all that stuff, and mentioned a couple. I did one, or I've done some skin work. I had to do for Capital Radio a promotion for the Kellogg's cereal that had cornflakes with banana bits in it or something, which I don't think's around anymore. But and I had to dress up as a giant banana and stand on Croydon roundabout with a sign saying something like "feeling hungry," just standing there, and people had to. This was at like 8 o'clock in the morning, so rush hour, and people had to phone in Capital Radio and go, "I've seen the giant banana. The code word is feeling hungry," and then they'd win a prize. And I would have a little radio, and they gave me a little kit. And they go, "Well, there you go. There's your suit. Put your suit on. Here's a bag. There's a bag of cornflakes in there, because they probably got loads of free ones. A radio, so I can listen out to see when someone's given the answer in. I can take the costume off and go home. And a fire blanket." I was like, "What's that for?" They're like, "Oh, it's just the costume. You know, it's quite flammable." So I was like, "You're expecting someone to set fire to me?" They're like, "Well, you're on your own. Go off." So you're standing there thinking, "Please don't set fire to me." But yeah, I was standing
wrapped in the fire blanket.
What happens? Who's going to put the fire blanket on me if someone sets me on fire?
There's a fire blanket in it.
Just get it. So, but no, and on Croydon roundabout, when I was standing there at 8 o'clock in the morning holding a sign, I saw this sort of white van go around with a load of builders in it. They started jeering, going, "Hey, hey," laughing. I was like, very funny. Sort of half smiling, and then they came back round, and I didn't see it, out of the corner of my face, and smack in the side of my cheek, they threw a banana at me, and they thought it was really funny. It really hurt, but at first I was a bit angry. After that, I found it quite hysterically funny. The fact that it was quite ironic, they threw a banana, I was just the giant banana. So that's probably the worst job I've ever done. Yeah. And standing in Covent Garden holding an HMV sale sign for like 6 hours. Yeah. Going, you told me I'd be leafleting, and in my mind, handing out leaflets is a step up from holding a sign. But yeah, you do what you can to pay your rent. I'm not too proud to be doing anything, you know, as long as it keeps me in London, it's fine. That's the thing you have to realise as well, is like a lot of these people you see, just and the athletes and stuff, they could be doing some big Hollywood movie next year. There's loads of them are actors.
Yeah.
It's the same with everyone. You never underestimate someone's talent
Be
or
nice to the
ability.
people
Exactly.
in London.
Be nice to everybody.
Don't throw bananas at bananas.
Don't throw bananas at giant bananas. It's not funny. I've still got a bruise. My jaw's still a bit wonky. That's why I sing with a wonky jaw.
Banana therapy. So
horrible.
We're going to talk about your own music.
Okay.
Because you have your album Sentimental Heart.
Yes.
Came out at the start of this year.
Yep.
It was out in January.
January the 19th, I believe. Or you can correct me.
How's it going?
Fantastic. Yeah, it sold really, really well. More than we thought it would. Not, confidence in it, but just, selling in front of house at the theatre and at Dress Circle, and also online now on iTunes now. It's amazing the sort of worldwide appeal that Wicked has. That's been responsible for people buying my album. And I've used that, I've kind of gone, well, people like the show, people are coming to see me, hopefully I can bring people over with my singing, and then they'll maybe become fans of my music and everything. So there's no shame in doing that.
Can I keep your love? Just being happy ain't enough. I will change my life so that I am what you want. Where did it all turn bad? Have you forgotten what we had? If who you want just isn't me, then tell me who I'm meant to be. Give me a chance to make things right, 'cause I won't give in without a fight. I'll be your Superman. I would hold you in my arms and fly across.
It sold really well, and because it sold so well, we did our first big live gig at the Bush Hall recently, which we sold out, 350 people there. It was fantastic, and I couldn't wish for more, really. It's so nice doing it yourself. I mean, I've had various opportunities with other sort of major labels, if you like, where there's possibilities of doing a recording project or something, but a lot of the time they want to manipulate you and do it the way they want you to do it. And me coming from musical theatre, they might want me to do Josh Groban or the collection of songs that Teatro and Il Divo have on their albums. As a solo artist, it's like a sort of young Michael Ball thing. And as much as that's great, and I don't knock it for other people, for me it's just not what I enjoy doing. And I'd rather have my career in musical theatre and still do the sort of poppy, rocky, funky jazz stuff that I did, like I did at Bush Hall, than have some major label saying, do this, do that, and everything. It's really sometimes not all it's cracked out to be.
I'm just thinking, all I ask of you.
And
that changes everything.
That be a lady and empty chairs, empty. It just doesn't interest me at all. I wouldn't enjoy it, and then fundamentally, if I'm not enjoying it, people listen to it, I'm going to enjoy it. So, I'm still sticking to my guns, and still, me and my brother, who work as Avenue West Records and have other people working for us and doing the album, was working on a new album and stuff, and we're still looking for a major label to get involved to sort of just assist us and help us sort of with that injection of cash mainly to further our marketing, so that we can get our music out there to more people. But if we're still strumming along just doing the same old thing for the next 4 or 5 years, we're just as happy, because we first and foremost performing the music live and having the music on our albums that we like, that we've written, that we have every say in, is more important to us than anything. And I'm in a position where I'm also very grateful and lucky to have a career in musical theatre, so it's all good.
Is there any particular song that you've got on your album, or that you've written that you are particularly proud of, or is it a bit mean to ask you to single out songs from your album?
No, we've got a new song that we did perform at Bush Hall recently that called Now That We Have Changed, and that was kind of a sort of work in progress version. It's one song me and my brother are really proud of, because we both wrote it, co-together and stuff, and I think when it comes out the new album, that'll be one of the new favourites. But you know, there's lots of songs on the album that I love. You know, Femme Fatale, I think it's a great track. You know, Roller Coaster, the lyrics to that really say everything that I would want to say about my own career. So if you haven't listened to the lyrics properly, listen to the lyrics again.
I'm living my life one day at a time. I'm starting again for the second time. 'Cause I'm not giving it up just because you see that I'm getting older. I'm not gonna stop till the day I die. When I go to heaven or hell, still I'm gonna try. 'Cause I'm not giving it up, no, I'm picking it up. Like I told ya, like I told ya. It's like I listen to the beat, I'm a broken heart. Something ain't right, but you don't know where to start. Gotta keep on working so you know who I am. Getting knocked back ain't part of my plan. Give me half a chance to know my name in this town. 'Cause I'm turning it upside down. Like a roller coaster, like a roller coaster. If you think that you know how it's gonna be, then step aside, make some room, get a load of me. So don't be holding me up, 'cause I'm stepping it up. Like I told ya, like I told ya. If the fashion is cool, then I'll follow it. Wherever pushing will come, but just not yet. 'Cause I'm picking it up, and I don't pretend I'm trying to be different. Not different. It's like I listen to the beat, I'm a broken heart. Something ain't right, but you don't know where to start. Gotta keep on working so you know who I am. Getting knocked back ain't part of my plan. Give me half a chance to know my name in this town. 'Cause I'm turning it upside down. Like a roller coaster. Roller coaster. Like a roller coaster. Controlling me, to shape me and tell me how I'm gonna be. 'Cause when I'm being myself in a way that I will be feeling older, feeling older. Take it or leave it, it's a second rate. Love me or hate is a choice you make. Don't pretend that you know more than me just because somebody told ya what he told ya. It's like I listen to the beat, I'm a broken heart. Something ain't right, but you don't know where to start. Gotta keep on working so you know who I am. Getting knocked back ain't part of my plan. Give me every chance to know my name in this town. 'Cause I'm turning it upside down. Like a roller coaster. Spinning around like a roller coaster. Roller coaster. Spinning around like a roller coaster. Roller coaster. Roller coaster. Roller coaster.
And if you haven't got the album already, we'll have details on the episode page of where you can buy it and get more information on it.
Fantastic. Yeah. And then, you know, there's lots of ballads and other stuff on there that I enjoy singing, but it's mainly the funky, fun stuff that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Talking about second album, have you got more gigs lined up to support that, or at the moment, or
Yeah,
is it just working on getting the tracks down for the second album? And
Yeah, well, we've got quite a few tracks already for the new album. We're going to keep on writing and we'll keep on going, and so until we've got a portfolio of songs that then we can choose the best ones from it. So it's the best way to work, rather than just going, well, you know, I've only got 10 tracks, I need to make another 2 to have a good album work, and having 2 tracks on there that you don't really want. It's best to have more and then choose your best. So we'll keep on working on this stuff. I don't think it's nearly time to bring out a new one. I know people would rather want one before, maybe sooner rather than later, but we want to get it right, and it's also timing and making sure people don't get bored of you as well. As if you expose yourself too much, too much singing, too much recording, putting out there, people will get bored of you. And, I don't want people to be bored of me, and I don't want to get bored of it either. So it's good to have breaks. It's good not to do gigs and concerts all the time. I've done quite a lot of concerts in the past. I'm definitely cutting down on them, the musical theatre ones, so I can focus on doing sort of more the live gigs. But we do have one big one planned for early next year before my contract's up in Wicked, and there will be lots of guests from all your favourite musicals singing sort of soul pop rock stuff.
There you go, you're going to have to keep your ears out for when that gets announced.
That's going to be big.
In 10 years' time, where would you sort of see yourself? Would it be gigging more with your own music or musical theatre, or would you still like to have a nice even balance between musical theatre and doing your own music? You're constantly wanting change, and being an actor, you want to keep it fresh and stuff. And whether that means you're moving into television or doing a bit of straight theatre for a while, or going and doing an album and pursuing a recording career. But I think I've got a feeling I'll always stay with musical theatre. I'll never completely go away from it because it's where I'm most comfortable. It's where I'm at home most. And it can all tie in, really. Sometimes there is some snobbery towards, straight actors not doing musical theatre and stuff because it's not real acting or whatever. But I always throw it down to someone and say, look, it's a completely different style. And if you can tell a story whilst having a break in the song and dance every 5 minutes, then you're a damn better actor than most, because it's harder to do that. But it's just different styles. So I'd like to do as much as I can. But I'll never walk away from musical theatre completely. I'll always come back to it. I always hope when I'm old and I retire that my last job will be singing a big show-stopping number with my false teeth falling out and people clapping me, patronising me, feeling sorry for me, going, well, he used to be quite good, but just give him his moment. No, but so in 10 years' time, I like to be doing as much as I can. Yeah, in this business, in this world, in this country, to further yourself, sadly, you have to have your profile raised as well. Because of all these reality competitions and TV things, and constantly being names in musical theatre. For me to stay in competition with them, although I have come from the hard graft of musical theatre and worked my way up, come from being swing, through covering, and then having the chance to play Fiyero in this fantastic show. There are people who producers will go, well, you know what, maybe they're not as qualified as Oliver, but they'll put more bums on seats and we'll put him in, and that makes my life harder. So for me to ignore the sort of commercial side of the industry would be foolish. So I want to pursue a recording career. If I can get more publicity and out there and stuff, then that automatically raises my profile, increasing my chances of working and doing the work that I want to do. So, but I'm not one of these people who says, I don't want to do musical theatre anymore. I think my dancing days are coming to an end, if I'm honest. I think I've maybe got 2 or 3 years of some fun movement in me, but I don't want to be turning around and jumping up on statues in 2 years, 3 years' time. Especially not 10 years' time. My knees will not take it. I'd rather be playing Nessa Rose by that point, just push myself around in the chair. That'll be happy days for me. Be interesting, if nothing else.
Exactly, especially with my beard and never shaving. Bad.
Oh, bad. Well, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us today. Much appreciate it. And like I said, listeners, we'll put full information on where to find out more about Oliver Tompsett's music on the website.
There you go, lovely Mr. Ollie Tompsett. You're getting all the stars, Lisa. I think all our presenters are sort of glad you're in Glasgow, because I think you'd be dead by now.
That's a bit mean. No, I'm just nice to people.
Yes.
Good of him to let us play some of his music as well.
Yes, and you do have some other people up your sleeves, shall we say.
I do up my sleeves, but they're staying up my sleeves at the moment. But we'll keep you posted as soon as we hear anything.
Which we shan't reveal at the moment. Yes, so you have just returned from the Great White Way.
I have indeed. I was lucky enough to have 10 days in New York, which was fantastic. It's a great city. If you haven't been, go. Take out a bank loan before you do.
Just do it. Just drop everything and just go.
Just go. Go now.
We'll put a link on the website to go to New York.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone should just go. No, in all seriousness, if you are a fan of musical theatre or just theatre in general, Broadway is, of course, the absolute holy grail. And
I disagree.
do you?
Yes, but never mind. That's another episode. I haven't got time. Hurry up.
We haven't got time to fight over Broadway,
No.
do we?
No, I need to hear the praises, so speak.
You need to hear the praises. Well, while I was in New York, I saw, and I didn't see actually any of the new shows that I wanted to see, unfortunately. Time constraints, lack of funds, etc., meant that I mainly saw shows that are actually already here in London, which is not good. But I did get to see Rent, which is obviously in its final swan song before it closes. It closes actually this week. Oh, after 12 years on Broadway.
Unless they extend it again for another 12 years.
Unless they extend it again for another 12 years, in which case I think they'll have a lot of angry people on their hands. But no, it was fascinating to see the theatre actually. It's completely covered in graffiti. Fans have just ripped the walls, the pictures, everything.
Shouldn't have to look at that.
It's quite sweet in a way, if not a little untidy.
Think
But
of the poor guy has to clean it up when it does go next week.
yeah, I know. It's a really strange colour as well. It's like a weird neon-y yellow colour of walls. It's bizarre.
What do you think of the theatres, the actual physical spaces on Broadway?
The theatre where Rent is probably space-wise, it's about the same as any theatre really. Traditional theatre over here, not one of the newer ones. Sort of your knees are touching the seat, the back of the seat in front of you.
Right.
Type effort. They accept the same.
And you're a
for-
tiny, teeny person, so imagine how I'd feel.
I'm a tiny, teeny person, but my husband is 6 foot and fidgeted. So there wasn't a huge amount of space, and certainly the same for the theatre where Avenue Q was, although their seats were much more comfy. We were in the mezzanine for Rent, and it had a good rake though, so we had a fantastic view because we were at the front of the mezzanine. And Avenue Q, we got last minute tickets, i.e. an hour and a half before the show started.
So last 90-minute tickets.
Yes, last 90-minute tickets at the tickets booth in Times Square for half price stalls tickets, and perfectly comfortable, fantastic view.
Now that's interesting that they're doing half-price ticket. Now what night was this?
That was on a Monday night.
Do you think the show's not doing well now, or is it because it's peak season now for tourism and things?
I don't
Was it
know,
full?
because actually when we looked at the tickets booth, the number of shows that you could get discount tickets for, even Legally Blonde,
Right.
you could easily get discounted tickets for. Not all the shows are half price. Some of them it's 25%, 40%. It varies from show to show, but they're listed outside the tickets booth every day what they have availability for. And it covers, obviously there are things that you just can't get tickets for without booking in advance.
And which shows are they? Or show?
Wicked,
Oh, really?
In the Heights as well.
Yes.
In the Heights were the two that I noticed the most, but they were the one. Title of show, I was surprised, was actually not difficult at all to get tickets for, had we had the opportunity to go. Even Rent, despite being in its last month, there was half-price tickets available.
It's been 12 years.
Yes, it has been, but it was very busy the night we were there, although people seemed more interested in the fact that Bailey Hanks was in the stalls, who is the new Elle in Legally Blonde following MTV's search for Elle.
Were you that busy every single night and every single afternoon that you couldn't go and see a show that you like in the Heights that you may never get to see here?
There was one simple barrier to me not seeing as many shows as I would have ordinarily. My husband doesn't like musical theatre.
Right.
So, therefore, we have to find a middle ground, and even seeing 3 shows was a push for him. Musical theatre's never been his thing, but he's managed to grin and bear it with me, and I have to say, he loved Avenue Q.
Yes.
Absolutely loved Avenue Q, but I don't think there's a bloke in the land that wouldn't love Avenue Q. It's so easy to like.
It's lovable.
It's very lovable. I'd never seen it before.
Okay.
And I've had the soundtrack for about a good 2 years now.
I bet that answered a lot of questions for you.
Did actually made a lot more sense. Definitely made a lot more sense. And obviously it was nice to see Avenue Q in New York being set there, so that was nice. And we had a fantastic cast.
Would you see
I
it
mean,
again in London to see the differences?
I will if I get a chance, but this year I'm seeing 21 performances of 16 musicals over the course of 12 months, and I really can't afford any more because I've just added up how much money I've spent on tickets this year, and it frightened me.
You got your life planned out, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I think I've seen 10 so far, so another 6 between now and the end of the year.
So how was the other show you saw?
The other show I saw was Wicked.
Okay. Do they have the hat? I mean, there still is a hat, but do they have the hat?
Nope.
That's
They
gone.
don't have it anymore. All the changes that were introduced in London when London was rewritten have now transferred to Broadway. So the new choreography
That's
on
how I
Dancing
like it.
for Life and the hat has been replaced by the projection that we have in
Yes.
Britain.
Very nice.
And if anyone cares, it took 5 weeks of rehearsals in the holidays to implement that.
Now,
But
a question I do have is, how do the audiences differ? Differ? How do the audiences differ on Broadway to that of the rest of the world or London?
I don't think they actually differ that much. Certainly not, because there was a lot of tourists in the audiences we were part of and in the queues for tickets, and quite a lot of people who didn't know what they were doing. One of my favourite things was I was outside one of the theatres on my way somewhere, and this massive queue had formed, and all these people were just joining the queue, and the people at the back of the queue didn't know why they were in the queue. And it was a lotto queue, but the people at the back of the queue didn't know why they were in the queue.
For which show?
The Wicked. That was Wicked. But you know, the Lotto runs for a few shows, but no, it's and I don't think it's that different. Obviously, it's as diverse as London. I think the bottom line is that theatre, no matter where you are, it's an expensive pastime. A lot of certainly when I was going past like the Legally Blonde, there was parents saying that their children had been looking forward to this for months. It was a big thing to be able to go and see the show. And same with some people seeing Avenue Q. This was part of their holiday, something they'd wanted to do for a long time. And I think definitely with the credit crunch continuing, I know a lot of shows in London, you know, are still ticketing fine in spite of the credit crunch. But £60 for a theatre ticket with everything else going up, it is a lot to consider. And that's, I think, theatre, if the credit crunch continues, will feel it, because I know certainly I can't sustain the amount of theatre going I have with prices going up the way they are. Not theatre prices, but everything else prices.
The Americans are much more enthusiastic during the performance.
Definitely. There was a lot of, you know, genuine laughter, spontaneous clapping, which I very rarely have had that in theatres here, where, you know, just a cluster of people will clap, something moves them to do that. And I don't think it's a very British thing to do. I think we wait for the breaks.
Yes.
Before applauding, and I found that quite interesting, because it was nice, because I suppose the cast were getting automatic feedback that, you know, they particularly got that joke or enjoyed that moment. And certainly in Avenue Q I noticed that. Rent as well, but again, it has an established fan base. Everyone who was there enjoyed the show, and a lot of them knew about it already. Certainly the infamous, as you do when you're female, there's a queue for the toilets everywhere, so you talk to everyone around you. So all the people around me knew about the show before they went, and they were all thoroughly enjoying it. And I have to say, the cast we had were superb.
Is this for Rent?
Yep, this was for Rent. We had probably notable mentions go to Adam Cantor, who's playing Mark, who was superb, and Tracy Toms, who is playing Joanne just now. She played Joanne in the film of Rent, and this is her in Broadway for a bit, and she is phenomenal.
Did you mention to the new friends you made in the line for the loo that you've interviewed Anthony Rapp?
I did, yeah, I did. I mentioned him. One of them said who.
Right.
And the other one said, "Oh my God, tell me everything, tell me everything."
Okay, so you got the different level of fangirls. I presume they were girls, because you're in the line for the girls' toilet there.
Yes.
Did you see any other fangirls or fans, scary fans?
Not as such. The
stage doors.
Stage doors. Rent stage door really busy, but they had barriers and security and everything. So I mean that's fine. And there was a lot of very excited people, as much for Tracy Toms, because she's more famous over there than she is here. and Eden Espinosa, who's obviously very popular, who's playing Maureen at the moment.
No pun intended.
No pun intended at all whatsoever, but accidentally done by me. Sorry.
Well done.
Again, certainly the stage doors over there are better managed for the larger shows. The larger shows that I either walked past or stood for, there was security and barriers in place, kind of a standard as a safety thing, which is quite good. Or in the case of Avenue Q, the cast just looked shocked, like that anyone was waiting for them, because there was only 2 or 3 people waiting to speak to the cast. Random Monday night in August, so...
Could you tell that the Gershwin Theatre is the largest theatre on Broadway?
I have to say, as theatres go, ugliest theatre I've ever seen in all my life, bar none.
Okay.
From the outside, it is part of a multi-storey car park.
Yes,
The Wicked, if you stand, the Wicked lobby's there on your left, and on the right is the entrance and exit to a multi-storey car park. Not a pedestrian exit and entrance, a vehicle entrance and exit. So it's not pretty. Inside, I have to say, it's probably one of the best theatres I've ever been in anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it resembles the National more than anything else?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it just had such a fantastic... I mean, the rake starts with the front row, so everyone gets a great view.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the seats are positioned, you're not looking straight at the back of the head of the person in front of you. You're in the gap, alternately. And it makes a lot of difference.
It does.
And this, I mean, the sound's really good. But the one thing I noticed, it's the first time I think I've ever seen
you can actually hear the instruments in this production?
Shockingly, yes.
Wow.
The orchestrations of that show, I hadn't given much thought to over here because I'm usually distracted by something being where it shouldn't, or it being noisy, or...
Something shiny.
Something shiny, yeah. Invariably something shiny. But I certainly heard guitar sections that I didn't know existed. I genuinely didn't know they were in the score, and that surprised me to hear that kind of clarity.
And how was Kerry Ellis?
Kerry was great. Very, very, very different, actually, which was great because having seen the show a lot in Britain, I was slightly concerned that it wouldn't feel fresh or different, but certainly she's as a performer evolved considerably, actually. I'd say in the last couple of months, and was excellent. Her acting was just phenomenal, and I think it helps that she has a really brilliant supporting cast working with her. Kendra, who plays Glinda, is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. It was like Glinda on crack. It was just hilarious, and sort of there was the odd moments where you're like, did she just do that? She did. Right, okay then.
I'm going to end this conversation, Lisa, with one taxing question for you.
Okay.
If any of our listeners outside of the States or outside of New York are considering going to the city, what are your 3 best Lisa's tips? I said tips.
For the city or for theatre?
Well, you haven't seen every show on Broadway, so you don't know much about the theatre, but okay, so just as for the city.
For the city?
Yeah.
Well, for the city, generally, if you like theatre, best tip is the tickets booth on Times Square. Because cheap tickets, everyone who doesn't love cheap tickets, and you can just find something that you maybe wouldn't have gone to see, but because it's half price, you'll go and see it. So that's my number 1 tip.
Especially if you're Scottish.
Oh, that's cheeky. No, especially if you're like me and A, Scottish, and B, don't have a huge amount of money to spend. It's a good way of seeing shows that you perhaps would have missed out on otherwise. There are things that you have to do when you go and see the city, but one of the best things we did was walk over the Brooklyn Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the other side and down a bit, there's a place called the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory, which sells the most amazing ice cream ever. So go there. If you're going to the city, if you're lucky enough, between now and before the middle of September, get yourself to Coney Island before the developers get their hands on it. Go and see this fantastic piece of Americana before it changes. It was just the best thing we did.
Did you go on the Cyclone?
Did I? Heck. Have you seen the Cyclone?
Yes.
It is made of wood and it rattles.
Yes, that's the whole fun of them.
Move. The planks move.
What about the ghost train they have there? What's it?
There's Dante. Is it Dante's Inferno?
Dante's Inferno, that's the one.
I have to confess, I went to Coney Island and did not go on a single ride.
Coney Island? Does it change its name?
Coney Island.
Coney Island.
I just can't speak. I didn't go on a single ride. I did, however, watch parts of an episode of Ugly Betty being filmed and wandered around in the background shots of that. So does
Very
that...
nice. You'll be getting royalty checks from Disney in no time, probably.
Excellent. And make sure that if you do go to Coney Island, get a hot dog from Nathan's because they're great. Empire State Building. I could go on all day about New York. I want to go back now, preferably. So if anyone wants to sponsor my next trip to New York...
No, my next trip to New York. You've been.
No, my next.
Our next.
A musical talk trip to New York. If anyone would like to sponsor that, we'll review your show. Promise. Send donations to... feedback at musical.uk. Are we a charity case now, Nick? While some things were cheaper over there, other things were not.
When I went to New York once, I had a beef, a sliced beef sandwich. Cost me like $12 for a sandwich. I'm like, okay, I'm in New York. It's £6. It doesn't really matter, but $12 for a sandwich.
It's quite a lot. Well, we ate a lot of like hot dogs and kebabs and stuff from delis, which is reasonably cheap, and burgers depending on where you go. I'd say if you are going to New York and you're going on a theatre trip, you're going to get stung on some of the merchandise. $20 for a brochure that the equivalent costs £6 over here is a little bit hard to swallow.
But not all shows have brochures there, remember?
Not all shows, because of course you get playbills, which are fantastic. I think we should have playbills over here.
A tip for London theatre goers, though, if you do want a cast list and you don't want to pay £3 for the brochure, just ask them and they'll give you the cast list on a piece of paper. They will do that.
I didn't know that.
They will.
I'm terrible. I'd rather I'd buy the brochure and the T-shirt.
It's nice to have the memory. Well, I wouldn't buy the T-shirt. But...
the soundtrack, the mug, the keyring, whatever. I have a rent bag. I don't want a rent bag, but I have one now, so...
You keep them. It's your memorandum for your lovely trip to New York.
Yes, exactly. And I want to go again soon. So again, all donations... I'm kidding. No, I think it's something I would love to do again very soon.
I think if we had permission from you, Lisa, can we put your photographs on our website?
Yes.
So go to www.musicaltalk.co.uk if you want to see pictures of lovely Lisa on her lovely trip to New York. If you have
no bikinis, I'm afraid, guys.
No. If you want to submit any questions to us, it's feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk, or personal questions to Lisa about her trip to New York or various checks, lisa@musicaltalk.co.uk.
And if you want more information about Oliver Tompsett and Oliver Tompsett's album, we'll put the appropriate links in the episode page as well.
We shall. Thank you very much, Mr. Tompsett, for appearing on Musical Talk. Lisa, welcome home.
Thank you. We'll speak to you soon.
There's no place like home.
There's no place like home.
This has been a production of Musical Talk, copyright 2008. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk. Thanks for listening.
And here are some musical out-talks.
I got 2 brochures. No, I got a CD and a bag and a T-shirt. Get your lines right.
I know. Well, thing is, I was looking at it thinking, well, no, the rent brochure comes with the bag.
Ooh.
It comes in a bag. Ooh. Same with the Spring Awakening one. It comes in those drawstring bags.
Yes, Musical Talk have one.
Yeah, it comes in one of those that has a zip at the front with a zipper pocket, and then it has the show logo on the front. The brochure comes in it. There's no way to buy it without it.
Sorry.
I tried.
Can you stop saying that, because that's hilarious? And
it's hilarious.
Peace out.